It is almost unfair having a player as good as Vlahovic. That was the social response, and I have to say, I would completely agree with that. And welcome back. This is episode 29 of the Glory Days. The winter transfer window has just been completed. So many moves have happened, but we have lots to talk about before we even get to those. First will be, who have we been drawn against in the Champions Cup knockout round? Followed by, have we managed to retain the Super Cup in our game against Zebre? And we'll follow that with all the action that's happened since we last left off, back in December. And there's been a lot of games played, including our Italian Cup third round against Sassuolo. And finally, we'll follow that with all the transfer news. So if you're looking forward to this episode, please get a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. And let's dive right in. Important part here is, who did we get put against in the Champions Cup first knockout? Unfortunately, it was Borussia Dortmund. So we got a tough first knockout round game here. We're away in the first leg. Benfica got Liverpool, Man UFC got Sporting, Chelsea Paris, Man City and Real Madrid, Bayern Atletico Madrid, Inter Barcelona, Real San Sebastian, who we beat. I can't remember if we drew one game, but we beat them the second game. We're up against Zebre. So Borussia Dortmund, this current point in time, sit second in the Bundesliga, 6 points off Bayern, as you'd expect. Still scoring quite a lot of goals. 42 goals have had fallen, but they are leaking goals in comparison to Bayern. They've leaked 20 goals. They have won their last 5 games, looking very competitive. If we look at their squad, we can see that they look like they're in good form overall, and they have 3 players who are standing out. Giovanni Reina with 8 goals and 10 assists. Samuel Chukwueze, I'm sure we looked at him at one point. He scored 14, assisted in 2 in 17 games. That's a pretty good record right there. And then Yusufa Makoko scored 13 and assisted in 4. On the bench got Malin, who's also scored 7. Bradley Fink contributed with 3 and 1 goal and some subs. He looks like a bit of a super sub. Lehner is a bit of an assister from right back, as is Collins from left back. But a lot of the assists here are coming from Reina. And a few in this midfield here. We obviously got Jude Bellingham, who is a tough opponent. And I know a lot of people are signing him as early as they can, if you can afford him. So this is definitely a tough opponent. Already we got some of their best players scouted. We have not got all these scouted, so I think before our game, hopefully I will have a team report on them, which will know a little bit more. But yeah, it's Borussia Dortmund. They have actually just replaced us in 3rd place in the repetition list. We are in 4th now, moved down. But it looks like we're pretty even up there. Pretty even, and we're one of the top 3 clubs here, and so possibly this is a good opportunity for us to at least give a good showing of ourselves, but I'll still put them as slight favourites. So as I forgot to actually save the video for the Zebre game, we'll quickly get on to the highlights and see how we did there. So you can see here, since the last video, we beat Torino 4-0, which is actually the game where Vlahovic got the mention on social media. We then were beaten by Cagliari. We did have a really good game overall in terms of stats, but we didn't put it away. There was a bit of complacency that went in this game. We rebounded though in the next one against Sassuolo, where we beat them 3-1. And Salernitana also suffered a 4-0 defeat to us. Again, Vlahovic proven to be deadly up front, as is Šeško. You can see that we did win the Super Cup. Central midfield pulling off a great game, as well as Origi. It was a pretty tight game, to be fair, and it looked like it could go either way. Delete scored early on at the 9-minute mark from a corner. We got one back from a penalty where Polgar. But then again, Zebre turned up. Arthur getting the ball in, and Chiesa, our former winger, getting that header in. But we gave it a quick reply with Vlahovic scoring at the end, 95th minute, to take that on to penalties. We got one off quickly. They missed one early on. Coop Miners then followed it up by scoring again. Believe they kept scoring. We just were sharing the goals for a bit, all the way down to the end. But it proved to be vital, the one that they missed early on. And we do retain that crown. We then followed that up with a 3-1 victory over Bologna, where one of our new signings actually scored, Folarin Balogun. He is just then on loan. We'll certainly not be making it permanent. At 22 years old, he's providing a bit of backup where we need it. He can play anywhere in that front three which we have, and he came on and did well in his first game. Has all the stats which we really require for that advanced forward role, or even inside forward, which is probably where we're going to play him more. Good acceleration and pace. It was actually that acceleration and pace which counted for us, I believe, in this game. So Šeško tried to play it out, gets it again to Gonzalez. Gonzalez played the through ball, and Balogun's pace got him ahead of the defender, and he did finish it quite clinically. So it was a good start for him. And you'll notice that we aren't playing our 4-3-3. We played this rather odd formation, actually. It was 3 at the back with a wide centre back, where Odriozola has actually been playing really good in there. Biraghi on the left as a wing back, a deep line playmaker, and Mizala still, I believe. Jota and Gonzalez plus Šeško and Balogun. Now this formation kind of came about because Šeško and Vlahovic are both considered star players, quite rightfully so, and we're starting to complain about their game time. So we tried to get a way in which we could get both of them on the pitch, and this actually really worked. For whatever reason, this formation really worked. So we then moved on. You can see we got past the third round with Sassuolo, 2-1. We looked reasonably good in this game. Not quite as clinical though. We did play this formation again. I think potentially leaves us a little bit more vulnerable because there are some gaps. So Odriozola does come across to try and fill in this sort of area on the right hand side. But it does leave a little bit of a gap. But up front, Šeško and Vlahovic together, they're deadly. And again, Balogun had a good game because he actually contributed to this first goal. He played through Šeško. Nice little bit of interplay. Sassuolo got one back though, again playing a through ball between our defensive line. But we picked it off him. Again, it was Balogun who's involved. You can see he got in there, stole it. Koopmeiners played it to Vlahovic, and Vlahovic just fires one in from outside the box. And that was our 2-1 victory, which took us through to the next round. That game was followed up by a 4-1 victory against Udinese, where Vlahovic got another 2. I believe that was his 20th goal in the league at this point. Šeško got another one, and Koopmeiners got involved. We played this formation again. You can see how well everyone played in it, and it was a little bit more shored up in this game. These two together are insane. But we have played that final game in January on the 31st against Napoli. This was an opportunity for, again, another one of our new signings to really get involved. So it was a 3-3 exciting game. Not so much if you're the manager, where Milinkovic actually had a poor game because he was the one who gave them a goal back. It was very poor weather, so I can't blame him. We went back to our 4-3-3. New signing Trincao, who we'll go to in a minute when we look at our transfers. I couldn't really say no to the price he was offered at. Came in and had a really good game, so let's watch the goals. Trincao really wanted to make a name for himself, so Biraghi here gets to the byline, fires in the cross, and Trincao gets in the back post to head that in. Within 6 minutes he'd scored. We then got a second where Vlahovic cleaned through, puts it spectacularly into the top right hand corner. We look like we're in a really good place, but then a ball comes over the top for Insigne, and he makes no doubt about it. Another goal goes in where Trincao is involved, heads it in, Vlahovic then gets onto it, and he nods it into goal. It looks like we're in a really good point. We're at 3-1 up at this point. And then Milinkovic makes a mistake at the back, which is really unlike him, and I won't hold it against him. And unfortunately Napoli then follow up with another one on the 75th minute. All the players were tired at this point, and we just could not turn it around. So it ended 3-3, and that leaves us 51 points, still at the top of the table. We are 4 points ahead of Atalanta, who played the same amount of games, and 6 points ahead of Inter, who played the same amount of games. Milan, we're only 2 points ahead of, but we do have a game advantage, and I would hope that we manage to win that game advantage. But where that puts us is we have Lazio in the quarterfinal. We've done well against Lazio in the past, and this is a cup that I really want to go for this season. In the previous two, we have just not managed to do it. Already claimed the Super Cup this season. Nobody cares about the Super Cup in this. The board don't care. but the players would like to win the Italian Cup. And that is the schedule for how it is. So we have, in between our quarterfinal game, we have Milan and Lazio. We'll then follow that playing Lazio again in the quarterfinal, and then it's the first game against Borussia Dortmund. And in terms of the following episode, I think we'll show the Lazio and the Borussia Dortmund game, because they are two crucial ties. I'd like to win that quarterfinal, and I really want to make us go to Borussia Dortmund and hopefully put in a good showing. But let's get on to those all-important transfers. So we have spent a lot of money this season, 148 million in total. We've also brought in 80 million, which is how we're going to have to do it if we want to sign players. And I know before I got into this transfer window, I really wanted to bring in players who were going to add that quality to the squad. And we went against that a little bit, in that we went for younger players who are going to add quality, but probably not right away. So, on the outs, Palacios actually left. Now, I'd been debating him for a while. He actually was starting to have a really good season for us. 7.0 average, but in 12 games he'd only contributed 2 goals, 1 assist and 1 player of the match. He's already doing much better than that for Wolfsburg, infuriatingly, with 2 goals and 2 assists in his first 3 appearances, 7.5 average rating, and already a player of the match. If you look at our scout ratings now, sign him at last resort. Potentially he has problems living in another country, which is maybe why he did have trouble here. We followed that by selling Kwame. I really liked this guy, but at 26 years old, he had a lot of pace, but I felt like we could potentially bring in someone who had more quality. 2-star roughly, 2.5-star, anywhere up to 3.5-star. But 26 years, how much is he going to progress in that time? Firstly, 7.75 million for Palacios was a good deal. We made a profit of 6.5 million on that within a couple of seasons. I'm pretty happy with that. 16.5 million for Kwame, I thought was a really good deal. He did have good seasons for us, I'm not going to lie. I thought he was a very good backup player. He came on, but he was starting to want more and more game time, and that was causing a bit of a problem in the squad. We sold out a couple of youngsters, loaned out another one, and then Martinez also went on outdoors. I couldn't really say no to the 16.5 million for him either. At 27 years old, he was a very solid defender for the Italian league, but at the same time we can get solid defenders who are younger than him. So I chose to give more responsibility to Nefum, who we'd brought in earlier on in the first transfer window, who I think is going to progress. He's already 3-star ball playing defender, 26 years old, year under Martinez. He's going to start to come into the squad a bit more now. We had 4 centre backs with only 2 positions. That's really fair enough, but I want to see him progress and see how far he can go. And on to the ins. So, firstly, we have signed Matteo Cancellieri from Verona. Looks a very good player. 2.5-star, 4-star potential ability. We did choose to loan him back out to Verona for the end of the season, just because we've got a couple of right wingers. And although I think he's more than good enough to come in at that squad at the moment, I think that we'll see how this season pans out. We brought in, as you know, Balogun from Arsenal, just a loan with a 900k fee. He just provides us with a bit of an option to alternate. 22 years old. Thiago Almada came in from Velez, 6.25 million. He just showed up in the scout reports. I wasn't intending to sign him initially, and I seen all his stats and I thought, there's no way I can let this guy pass up. He primarily wants to play in central attacking midfield, but he can play out on the left, which is probably where we're going to play him. Unless we end up going a 4-2-3-1. I'm not sure I want to change from the 4-3-3, but that'll be dictated by sort of transfers in the future. These stats though are great, and we have not chose to loan him back out. He is staying with us, and he's going to contribute straight away once he returns from international duty. We then brought in Trincao for 20.5 million, which I thought was an absolute bargain for a player. He's rated at 3 stars, currently potential of 3.5. I don't know, something about his stats tells me that he's, for how we want to play, he's just going to hit the ground running here, and he already has. So I'm taking that 3.5-star pinch of salt. Somehow I think he's going to be really good for us. And finally, we brought back Hector Bellerin just as that backup. We've needed a backup right back all season. He played really well for his last season. There's no risk to this at all. He's just going to provide backup. The 3.4 million fee for that, with an optional future fee of 56 million, which we definitely won't be taking up. We're going to look for someone younger if we're going to sign anyone. And that rounds it up. So there has been transfers, and quite a few, and the squad is now starting to change. I did go into this knowing that we had to start being more ruthless. It's not had too much of a dent on cohesion, atmosphere or support, which I'm very happy about. We've managed to keep the core squad together. We've managed to not make too many people unhappy. What I can say is we need to give Gonzalez, Polgar, Zaracho more game time, and I could not care less about Perin getting the game time. I'm not making any promises to him about game time. He is just a backup, and in fact I'm going to tell him he's just a backup right now, because he doesn't have the quality to take over from Tchaikovsky. So whilst I would love to have got that win where Trincao scored, we got a draw. We're going to have 2 seriously tough games coming up, Milan, Lazio. That's followed again by Lazio in that cup. So as we said, we'll come back for Lazio, come back for Borussia Dortmund the next one. Again, it's a cup fever episode. And then the episode after that is likely to be possibly Atalanta and Borussia Dortmund, simply because we've played Zebre a few times now in these videos. And hopefully we're still in the Champions Cup and we have more to look forward to here, or at least more in the Italian Cup to look forward to here. Otherwise, we've got a pretty good end to the season run yet again this season. Once we get past this Borussia Dortmund game, we only really have Roma and Inter, who I would see as the main worry. Possibly Bologna can cause a little bit of trouble. But if we get through this period quite well, I'd be happy with that end of season run up, that we can secure this league win yet again. So I think that's where we're going to round up this video. Do let me know how you think we've got on in this transfer window. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed it, and if you have, please give the video a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching.